Well, lads, Alan here. Just bringing you a quick video just to give an update on kind of where we're at. A few of the things that probably need to be tightened up on, and just some of the stuff going forward. Um, Look, the rules, we've all seen the rules, but still, people probably don't follow every single one of the rules. No matter how advanced or progressed we get, this will always be the rules. So take a step back today after you watch this. Have a look at the rules and see are you following every single one of them. You might find that you're slipping up on one or two. Tighten them up, and there'll be no issues. So eating every 3 or 4 hours, that's top because people are still kind of only putting up. Some meals are from chatting to people individually saying they're still on 3 meals a day or maybe 4 meals a day. Like at this stage, from following the plan this long and the training and type of training you're doing, your body should be telling you to eat every 3 or 4 hours. We're not going to hit our protein intake for each day if we're not getting those 5, 6, 7 meals in a day. Unprocessed foods, again, there's still foods going up the odd time like white pastas and breads and stuff like that. Stuff that's been highly processed, just try cut it to a minimum. Okay, we don't always have to be 100% clean, but stuff that has more than 4 or 5 ingredients or stuff that's fake food essentially we shouldn't be putting into us at this stage. Again, make water your number one drink. Everyone should be taking in that 3 or 4 liters a day, and then plan ahead. So I know it's hard to do, and some lads are working in different types of jobs and stuff like that. But try as much as you can to plan ahead. Have safety nets, which means having nuts or protein in your car. We should never at this stage be in a position where you have a shite meal because you've had to pull into a garage. Okay, you knew you were going to be on the road, or you knew you were going somewhere. You shouldn't be leaving yourself in a situation where you don't know where you're going to be, because it just leads to poor food choices. Um, all right, so then I'm going to talk on carbohydrates a bit more as we go down, but that's going to be one of the main changes that we make now on how we manipulate carbs. So, um, again, protein every time we eat, healthy fats as we've said, and then 6 to 8 portions of fruit and veg a day. Just make sure we're taking in more veg than fruit. There's some meals going up like smoothies and stuff like that where people are tending to take in a lot more fruit, and it does contain sugar, so it'll balance itself out somewhat if we take in more veg, or naturally we'll be taking in more veg than fruit. So just cut back on the sugars and fruit. So like the real plan now is to really get zoned in, okay, and have our specific style in. So right, the league will be coming to a close, and then we're going to have a big time or a big gap for championship. So we want everything to be nailed on, okay, and everything spot on by then. So most people now are moving towards that maintenance group. So we gain group, maintenance group, fat loss group. Obviously, three different areas and three different goals, but the whole idea is everyone moves towards into this maintenance group, which we're nearly at. So with that being said, there'll be some slight changes. Okay, people that aren't in that yet and still need to work in their group, they're going to stay working in that group. Just on fat loss group, if there's guys that are going to, I'll keep an eye on skin folds, but if there's guys that are still in fat loss group coming up to championship, like fat loss won't be the priority then. Like performance will always be the priority. So that's why it's important that we get out of that group now, so that you're not neglecting yourself later on in the year when we're in proper championship season. Because I'll always put performance ahead of fat loss or anything like that. Gain group will stay the same because they're going to be taking in those extra carbs anyways. So just on that, for maintenance group, this is the ideal scenario for everyone, okay? So don't worry about the days of the week there, because that will change based on the week. But in terms of carbohydrate intake, and more specifically carbohydrate loading, this is going to be the model going forward for everyone in maintenance group, okay? So essentially, you're going to have a bit of freedom with your carb intake. So if we've an easy day on a Monday, there's no real need for you to take in massive amounts of carbs. If you've played a game on a Sunday and you're tired on the Monday, you can take in some carbs. On a Tuesday, let's say there's a training Tuesday evening, you're going to up your carb intake. So how that will look like is, let's say on a Monday, if you're in maintenance group, and you can still lean up a tiny bit. The days off are when you're going to lean up, so you don't necessarily need to be taking in carbs in your 3 main meals. Let's just say you take some carbs in at lunchtime or breakfast time, ideally closer to the last time you've done some activity. Tuesday, you can take in carbs, your breakfast, lunch, dinner, your main meals, even at snacks too, but we want to keep them as good source of carbs. Let's say Wednesday is a gym session. A gym session is going to deplete your glycogen a lot less than a pitch session, so you can lower it a small bit then on a gym session. So if you're doing a gym session, you might have carbs pre and post, but you mightn't have them that morning for breakfast. Thursday, let's say we're back on the pitch. That's going to be a full day, full hard session. Friday, let's say Friday's a day off. If you have no need to take them in, you're not tired or sore, you can reduce altogether on the Friday. And then Saturday, from Saturday, say in the 24 hours before the game. So if Sunday is a game at 2 o'clock, from 2 o'clock on Saturday, we can take in carbs. If it's an evening game, hold off till 6 or 7 on Saturday. So we'll have that 24-hour window. And Sunday is when we ramp up the carbs that you're going to be taking in those meals. Every single meal on the Sunday, no matter what time the game is at, say. So post any questions you have on that below, but how that will look for some guys might look slightly different than to others. Guys that have just come into the maintenance from gain might keep their carbs a little bit higher, say on their off days, than guys who have come from fat loss, say. And then guys that are in that sweet spot in maintenance have a bit more flexibility and freedom. And that's the aim of it going forward, that you're able to dictate what you need and when you need it and why you need it. What I don't want is guys holding off on carbs on training days when we go forward into proper season, or guys holding off on carbs on match days or any stuff like that. Currently, gain group are carbs all the time. Fat loss guys, carbs training days pre and post, reduce on gym days and none on off days. And we'll stick with that model going forward for the next little while. And then lastly, on match day supplements, just to clarify, ideally caffeine to be taken in. So the Pro Plus, 200 milligrams, which is 4 tablets, about 15 to 30 minutes pre-game. Now some guys mightn't tolerate it, so let's make sure we have that tested. I know you've had it a few games, but make sure we have it tested that you're not going to have adverse reactions or starting it. If you're named on the bench, don't take caffeine in before the game. Keep it on you and take it at half time, or take it on before you go on if you want. The Electrolytes pre-game if required. Okay, so hydration shouldn't be an issue anymore. Post-game, immediately post-game if you play, particularly as the weather picks up and we're going to be sweating a bit more when it's sunny, just take the Electrolyte post-game. Whey protein post-gym, recovery protein post-pitch and match. One thing to note on that with recovery protein, if you didn't play the game, don't come in and take a big massive shake full of sugar. You need that if you've played or you've done a training session after or runs or that, but if you haven't played yet, you don't need to be taking that in. Then lastly, look, just some of the planning and prep stuff, just get back nailed on it. Like some are very good on the group, some are quiet, so it doesn't have to be that like that all the time, but just plan out, prep your meals. Make sure that you do the shop, like I said earlier, with the safety nets. And even if they're not going up on the Facebook page, it's a good habit just to take note of the meals you're taking in each day. And then if you want me to scan an eye on it, send them across, and I can do. Any questions, pop them below, and we'll take it from there then.